Well, hello and welcome back. Thanks for coming back. Where are we? Well, we're out on an evening just as the sun is setting. We're in the rear seats. I'm confused by English. We're in the rear streets of the area of Yetaskipu, and the road service is absolutely Sherlock Holmes. So if your name is Lady so sweet Caroline, and you've just come back from the celebratory lunch of the crowning of the King and Queen of England and your busy wedding on that Saturday as well, along with a chauffeur known as Lord Nigel Big Guns, who refused to wear his hat, well, get your bottom on a memory foam pillow, and just before you do, pour a tot or two for that man known as Lord Nigel Big Guns. Big shout out to some of the crew. Lady Dame Anne, she's coming into Paphos very, very soon. Cuddled up on the sofa next door to her is, of course, the superstar, the lady with star in her surname, and of course her name is Miss Anna Starr, the greatest lawyer in downtown Paphos, and I had the great honour and privilege to meet and have a coffee or two with herself, her superstar partner in crime, the wonderful Mr. Tomas, and of course the hero of mine, Mr. Bart, who has promised me that he will be the greatest lawyer in downtown Poland in around about 10 years when his mother retires very, very early indeed. So, where are we? This is the crossroads, and if we go straight over, we're going to go to Universal. If we were to go to the left, we would go straight down to the inner ring road and straight over and literally down to the Kato Paphos area and literally into the front entrance of the Olympic Lagoon Resort, a luxury 5-star beachside kissing resort. If we were to go right, we'd go back up to the former Debenhams roundabout. I think we're going to go straight over. There you go, straight into the downtown Universal area. We don't tend to go in there that often, so perhaps we'll have a bit of a mosey on down and show you some of the things that are going on in the downtown Universal area today. Because slowly but surely, it is starting to hot up in Universal. Universal is an area where primarily people come to stay on their holidays. There are residents in here as well, obviously, and there are people who come out for 3 to 4 months at a time, but primarily at this time of year, early summer, it can be relatively quiet. But of course, as the season ramps up, it gets busier and busier because an awful lot of people either own or rent apartments and accommodation in the downtown Universal area. In fact, superstars known as the Mahonies have got a property in downtown Universal, and that means that Mr. Daniel, he's got a bit of sweetness in his life, and her name is, let me get it right, is it Miss Brandy? No, that would be far too bitter, far too sour. Oh no, her name is Miss Sherry, and of course she's always right. Miss Sherry Wright, a very, very good evening to you, and hopefully when you come dancing down to Paphos later in the year, Mr. Daniel will entertain us and yourself, obviously, in the Paphos Diner, which is coming up on the left-hand side now. And you're in for a feast, you're in for a treat. Look at the new beautiful metal and glass facade. It really has transformed that rather good taverna. The service was always good, the food was always good, but it was that little bit scruffy. Now, I'm not going to say it's a 5-star luxury restaurant, but it certainly is good enough for downtown Universal, and the staff in there are exceptional, and every time I've eaten in there, it's always been very, very good indeed. We ate in there with Daniel and his father not that long ago, and before that, well, I've been once or twice in between, but we did boogie on down there with Jeff and Mandy, and of course their son Russ and his great friend Mr. George, and we had a great meal just before they set off on their travels all the way back to the UK. And we're looking forward to see you, Mr. and Mrs. Hancock, again next year, and hopefully when you come to Paphos, you'll drop in the comments and we'll get to boogie on down again and again. Now, we've come straight through the centre of Universal, and we are now joining what I call the Paphos Inner Ring Road. And we're going to go left because we have to go left. And now we're going to head out towards the Pasodonis Avenue. Just over yonder now, we are going to take a right, and we are going to go down, and we're going to come out right in front of the Alexander the Great Hotel. And as I've just said, Dame Anne is coming to town very, very soon. And of course, that's where Dame Anne is going to check in. Top floor with a spectacular view out towards the Paphos Harbour and Fort area. What's going on? Because she enjoys the sunset. But what's going on here, Miss Andrea? That is a red light, and as you can see, I have stopped. We've got a military helicopter going over the top, by the way. Who knows what's going on? Perhaps the Queen is coming into town. Who knows? And James Bond, and they're going to parasail down the side. You never know. So we're going to take a right, and we're going to go down here, and we're going to go past the apartment complex where Miss Gemma, yes, Miss Gemma and Mr. Jason, they're going to be booking into town. I think it's 7 weeks this time, isn't it? Yes, and Harley and Rico are coming as well. And wow, well, we understand there's a lot of jet skiing going to be going on. And Jason's going to have a great rest because he's one of the greatest gardeners in the world. And I promise you, Miss Gemma, this time, you drop it in the comments, and we are going to chuchka dance down the Kato Paphos promenade with you and the gang, and then we're going to sit and have a nice drink or two and pass the time of day and catch up on what's been going on. This is one of the superstars that joined Marika and me very, very early in our career as YouTubers, shall we say. We understand our career is not going to be very long because the channel is not the greatest channel in the world, but it's about a bit of fun, a bit of games, and hopefully there's one or two people that do quite like us. Dame Anne, she likes us. Well, I think she does. Lady so sweet Caroline, she quite likes us. Well, she tells us she does. And of course, Lord Nigel Big Guns. And of course, you've got the twins, Double Trouble, or as I call them, a couple of pains. They seem to quite like us, and they like to do a bit of chuchka dancing with us. Dave Jono, he's come back on the scene. Dave Jono, Lord Dave Jono, is one of our very, very early superstars. And today, believe it or not, I had the great honour and the great pleasure, and I'm truly, truly humbled to have met a man called Ash with a big D. Again, he is one of our very, very, very early superstars, subscriber, but we don't like that word, family members. He chose, for some reason, obviously he's got mental problems, a bit like me, but for some reason he chose to hit that like and to join the family, and he comes back now and again and leaves a comment that tickles me. And he's in downtown Paphos with his wife and his two great children, and they are walking in and around the downtown Kato Paphos Harbour, and he came to say hello, and we had a little chat, and we wish you a great holiday and a great trip back to downtown sunny Manchester, as we say. And hopefully before you go, because you're here for a while longer, we know that, hopefully we're going to bump into each other again. And perhaps your wife, she thinks I'm a bit nuts, which I am. You know, my grandmother told me I was nuts. My mother told me I was nuts. In fact, several psychiatrists have told me I'm nuts. But luckily, I'm not wanted for any serious crimes to humanity yet, other than, well, running a rather bad YouTube channel. Anyway, the great news about our YouTube channel is that slowly but surely, well, rapidly actually, we are approaching the magic 2,000. You see it in tens, so at the moment, if you were to look, you would see 1,990. Obviously, I can see a little bit deeper than you can, and we're actually on 1,994 wonderful superstar family members. So 6 more wonderful people to join the family, and we will hit the magic 2,000. And we're in a selfie. Have a look at that. There's some people there taking a selfie. So they've got Mr. Paul and his old girl called the Black Beauty. That's the Mercedes S-Class as it drives up Bar Street now. Look at this. Bar Street's getting ready to click back into action. There's one of the superstars there, Mr. Jason. And he hasn't recognised me yet because I've changed the car, but he's busily putting out the actual cushions. Here's some people getting ready to go into the Flyers bar, which is, or Flares, isn't it? Sorry, Flares bar. And that is the favourite bar of Miss Sally Bryers and Mr. Matt Dyers. And one day, Miss Bryers is going to become Mrs. Dyers. Isn't she, Matt? Otherwise, well, you know what's going to happen to you. you're going to go into the blue Mediterranean Sea, and you're not going to be seen again. Simple as that. Boys, double trouble, a couple of pains. We may have a job for you. We may have to mallet the living daylights out of Mr. Matt Dyers. And talking about that, there's another superstar. He's known as Harry the Keeper, and he has promised me that he's going to put a ring on the finger of a baby barn hook, Miss Fern. Are you listening, Miss Fern? Because if he doesn't, you have a word with us, and I promise you, I will send the boys up from downtown Cardiff. That's the couple of pains. That's Lord Jeremy and Lord Simon, and they're going to mallet him with the permission, the kindest of permissions, from the hierarchy known as the Baron John and Baroness Louise, who likes a bit of cheese. Anyway, this is downtown Kato Paphos. This is Bar Street. We're coming to the top of it. Keg and Barrel is on our left. Right in front of us to the left is the Memories Bar. They like to look after the cats. And that in front of us now is T&J's, the greatest fish and chip shop in downtown Kato Paphos. And I can see the boss stretching his neck, looking over the top, because he understood that that was Mr. Paul, that lunatic in that black Mercedes, looking with a silly camera pointing out and his hands going, look at that, the greatest fish and chip shop in downtown Kato Paphos. We're back on Passidonis Avenue, or Hotels Road to make it very, very simple. I'm pretty sure you can see there's hotels everywhere, well, on my right hand side, and there are restaurants and bars and buildings going up on the left hand side. But it's a great place to come. If you're in this area by the Alexander the Great Hotel, which is on my right hand side now, you are but a 10-minute walk downtown Kato Paphos Harbour, which means you're only about 5 minutes from the promenade. So what better place to be? Over here is a parade of shops, and there's hiring cars and hiring mopeds, and there's also a very, very good restaurant and a place called the Secret Garden, which is in there. And it's a great restaurant, great food, sensible prices, and on top of all that, great service. On the right hand side now is the Amavi 5-star luxury hotel. And whenever I pass this hotel, I always think of one man, and his name is Joe Cox, and he's from downtown Manchester. Got a beautiful wife called Miss Julie, and when they came to Paphos just before Christmas, they came to celebrate the birthday of Miss Kath. That's the sister, and she brought with her her partner in crime, Mr. Colin, and he celebrated his birthday as well. So Miss Kath was 50 and Mr. Colin was 53 years young, and they liked it so much that they're going to come back and do it all over again. This is the Triangle area. Hunt back in the YouTube search bar and pop in the Triangle, Marika and me, and you're going to get us walking around here. We've got accosted over and over. In fact, there was a queue of superstars waiting to say hello on camera and off camera. It's an area with restaurant after restaurant. There's a couple of gift shops right across the road there in front of us. Behind the foliage is the not the Atlantica, what am I on about? That's in Limassol, the Avanti 4-star hotel, and that's the Olympic Lagoon in front of us, so it shows you that the Avanti hotel is but a stone's throw away from the beach, because behind that hotel in front of us now, the Olympic Lagoon, is the blue Mediterranean Sea. So this is the area known as the Triangle. You've got the Shamrock Irish themed pub on the left. You've got Popeye and Felix's on my right. You want to do a bit of karaoke, want a bite to eat or a drink on your trek from, let's say, the Athena Beach Hotel, if your name is Mr. Andy and Miss Linda, and that's where they're going to stay. And if you come back in a few days, we're going to go and storm that hotel in the name of Miss Linda and Mr. Andy and make a very, very special video for them. Now, if you like what you see, want to hit the like, click the subscribe, and perhaps come back for a little bit more of my complete and utter madness. And if there's somewhere that you'd like us to go, drop it in the comments, and on your travels perhaps go through to our about page where you can find a little icon that says buy me a coffee. If you like what you see, you'll want to give us a tip, perhaps consider buying us a coffee or two. And you can also join us on a membership on the platform known as Buy Me a Coffee and contribute to the channel on a monthly business basis. There we go. Confusing English again. It's getting late in the day, and as you can see, the sun is rapidly going away. And on that note, if you're curious to know what the temperature is, perhaps if your name is Miss Dawn, you got a husband called Mr. Sean, you got a little cat called Miss Daisy, and a very, very clever dog indeed called Mr. Bobo. The temperature today, and it is 7 o'clock at night, is 22 degrees. So It doesn't get much better than that. Thanks for watching, and of course I will see you again very, very soon in the next one. As we continue up this road, by the way, we're going to come back to the crossroads where we actually started. So that's what we call the universal crossroads. If you keep going straight up, you come to the former Debenhams roundabout, and if you keep going straight up, you come to the Limassol roundabout. You have a choice to go back into Paphos, or of course up the Limassol bypass and keep going for the Paphos airport and keep going for the Limassol city. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again very, very soon indeed. What a beautiful, beautiful evening it is, by the way. There's a beautiful springy, summery smell in the air. And yes, Lady oh so sweet Caroline, I do have a little bit more bounce in my step because the most beautiful woman in the world, Miss Ochin Krasivia Labouf, is back on my right side. And that's where she belongs, and that's where she will be for the rest of my life. And I hope I live a long, long time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you very, very soon indeed.